सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। So basically, now we see that to reach that final state, it's not that easy, but we with all this help of everyone, we can kind of move towards that. And certain qualifications are needed and all that, and we have studied all that. So according to our own capacity, ability and purity of mind, we will understand what is this direct realization, So that's what right now we are still using our intellect. So now here in this Upanishad is taking one more angle to explain, because as I said, that they give such clever angles they bring to you that, hey, maybe you will connect with this one. So let's see what it is over here. The verse is Puramekadasham dwaram ajasya vakrachetasah anusthaya na shochati vimuktascha vimuchyate. Aitad vaitad. Puram, talking about a city. Ekadashah with 11. Dwaram, gate. So talking about a city with 11 gates. Ajasya, of the unborn. Avakraha, not crooked. Teda meda nahi सीधा. जो बोलते हैं ना कि this man is very straightforward. Something like that, you think about it. It's not crooked. It's not something to do with the higher self, okay? Chetasaha is minded, or that kind of understanding, you can call it. Anusthaya, अनुष्ठान करना, having meditated upon. जो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना अनुष्ठान करना means to take a resolve and do something. मैंने ये अनुष्ठान किया यज्ञ का या पूजा का, उसको भी अनुष्ठान बोलते हैं. पर यहाँ पर माइंड से कनेक्टेड है कि मैंने मन में लिया है वो मेडिटेशन का रिजॉल्व. द शोचति, one does not grieve. It's coming from the same verse that we did, the highest sorrow also, the person doesn't get shaken up. So just same thing over here, that one doesn't grieve. Vimuktaha, being liberated, cha, and vimuchyate, become free from birth and death. So you are already liberated, and then again you get liberated, something like that. We'll see what exactly he means. Etad is this, is, why, verily, that. So whatever Nachiketa had asked, that what is that factor? So he's talking about, hey, is Puri mein rehta hai, vagara vagara, and let's see what he's talking about. Why he's comparing this. How? Okay, so as I said that here it's Brahman is revealed in different ways. So in this second section, they call it ये word Puri, and Puri word जैसे बोलते हैं ना जबलपुर, कानपुर, नागपुर, हमने ये word बहुत सुना है, right? Pur means a city or a town बोलो, something like that. So where Tejomyana ji explained this word पूरा, जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना पूरा करना या भरना किसी चीज में कोई चीज, so वहां से ये word आया है. So why it is connected to a word called town? So he's saying that town वो होता है जो वेरियस चीजों से भरा हुआ होता है, इसके कारण वो कंप्लीट होता है. क्या चीज से पूरा होता है वो, कि अगर बोले एक मकान कहीं जंगल में रख दिया, किसी ने घर बना लिया, उसको हम लोग पूरी बोलेंगे क्या? नो, वी विल नॉट कॉल इट अ टाउन, राइट? सो टाउन में सब कुछ हंगामा होना चाहिए. रोड एंड बिजनेस एंड स्कूल एंड कॉलेज एंड लाइब्रेरी एंड हॉस्पिटल एंड for American cities, you have to have a ballpark and you have to have this sport park, all of those things together is called Puri. So just keep that. So now he's saying that body is a Puri. So how did they say that body is a city? So he's saying that body में भी कितनी सारी चीज़ों का समूह है ना. You start with say physical thing. Physical structure is there, and then there is a sapta dhatu, they call it in Ayurveda, but in English language you will say it is bone marrow and flesh and this, and then you have all the karmendriyas, the 5 organs of action. We have hands, legs, and all that, and then we have panch jnanendriya. We have all those eyes, ear, skin to touch, nose to smell and all that. All of that is there, and we have mind also in there. So कितनी सारी चीज़ों का समूह हो गया ना, तो पूरी हो गई वो. So there is one more way of looking at this puri. In olden days, that they used to have a killa, we call it Hindi में ना, fort. Or इधर भी, I'm sure all of us have visited forts, and some towns, like where my husband is from, Batala, it has several gates because it was a killa only at one time. So then you have several gates that you go, right, in the town. And sometimes they can call it East Gate, West Gate, and sometimes they give it a Sinha Gate, and that's how you enter. So they used to have these forts, and then the gates used to be for transportation, avagaman they call it, going and coming. So those are the gates. So then why did they compare the body to a city? Because they call it Navadware was in Bhagavad Gita, 9-gated city. Here, they're more advanced over here. They're calling it 11-gated city. Okay? Where did the 9 and 11 came from? Let's see that. So our body, firstly, consider our body as a city or a fort. Fort is even a better example. So then there are 9 gates. So we know 7 holes are on the face. 2 ears, eyes, 2 nose, and 1 mouth. And then 2 are at the bottom, reproductive and the excretory thing. So there you go, 9 ho gaya. So यहाँ पर 11 बोला है. So now 2 और कहाँ से आया? Navel. Navel is also a dwar only, because it was connected to the mother's womb, and then, and other yogic thing, prakriya, it's supposed to be the center of the body and all, in some ways, if you can call it one of the very important gates, because that's how the baby 9 months got all the nutrition. And the last one, Kamlaji is not here. She talks about this, all the Sahasrarth, and that's called Brahmarandra in the yogic also. And this is at the top of the head, and it seems that the great yogis, who have kind of gone very advanced, when they quit the body, their pranas exit from that. There's literally a crack that happens in the skull and something like that, We have heard about it, I don't know. So he's saying that common people wo band rehta hai. But with the yogic practice and sattva increasing and all that, obviously it gets more activated, that Sahasrara chakra or Brahmarandra, they call it. So then, now think about the city again, or a fort, if you don't want to consider fort, you can consider a city. It will be the same. So what happens in a fort? That there are one very important factor is that there are different guardians and officials to take care of it, right? एक fort को ऐसे ही छोड़ दो तो दुश्मन आ जाएंगे उसमें सारे. And it will not function properly. So to function properly, you need officials, you need minister, you need prime minister and all that. And then, but there is an owner of that thing also. Like now we have a democracy, but olden times, Raja बनाता था उसको. Fort हमेशा राजा बनाता था. तो किसका किला है, तो they will give a name. कि फलाने ने लक्ष्मी बाई का किला or something like that, whatever, they give the name because the king, it created, so उसका राजा होना चाहिए उसका. So ये राजा कौन है यहाँ पर? The word they use it, ajasya vakra chetasaha. That's the thing. Aja means the one which is not born, unborn. उसके लिए ये पूरी बनाई गई है. तो जो हम लोग सोचते हैं कि हमारा बॉडी है, तो उसका ओनर है एक बॉडी का. ओनर इज दैट आत्मा. Okay, or it is made for that Atma. That you have to think of it. That is even better way of saying. And who is that Atma? It is avakra. It's pure. उसमें कोई टेढ़ा मेढ़ा use किया avakra, but idea is that it is pure. That's the whole idea. Okay, and Chetasa. 1 second. Chetasa usually used for mind, but here they are talking about pure consciousness. That is the owner of this city of the body. Okay, and then it's who are the officials? Now you can stretch these example a little bit. Senses are our gateways. Okay, because ये जो हम कान नाक आँख यहीं से तो ओपनिंग है ना, इधर से ही आवागमन होता है. Means यहाँ से बाहर आना जाना, because that's how we look at the world and all that. So they are the gateways. And then who is the द्वारपाल? एक द्वारपाल भी होना चाहिए ना वहाँ पर. इंडिया में तो वो खूब पगड़ी वगड़ी शगड़ी पहन के they stand near the hotel door and all. द्वारपाल are presiding deities. You know, like जितने देवताज हैं, they are like the द्वारपाल of it. So now you can connect. अगर द्वारपाल अच्छा होगा ना तो फालतू चीजों को अंदर नहीं आने देगा. Right? So if we really connect to the higher devatas, we will not let all the junk come inside us. But that is the kind of the protection of our borders, like they say. And who is the controller? Mind and intellect. Because mind and intellect is the one who is going to decide कि क्या अंदर आए क्या नहीं आए and all that, right? So just like as though they are the controllers. And Raja Dhiraj कौन है? Raja Dhiraj Atman. Because जब कोई राजा present होता है ना वहाँ पे, तभी सब कुछ smoothly चलता है. Remember I gave one time an example of a boss. Ki boss was not there in the office and everybody was goofing off. Boss is there, then everybody works. You know? So Atma is the boss. Okay, and one very, very important rule about so this is called assemblage. एक city को ना assemblage बताया गया है, और एक हमारे शरीर भी assemble of so many things we discussed, right? कर्मेंद्रिया, ज्ञानेंद्रिया, physical structure, ये सब assemblage जब होती है ना तो वो हमेशा उसका वो किसी और चीज के लिए होती है. assemblage, you know, assemblage is never for itself. That is a very powerful statement that it is making over here, because it's like a car assemblage. Okay, and I don't know any of you have seen. Well, my brother lives in Michigan and worked for a car company, so he took me to see how the car is assembled. You know, it's very interesting. It goes through this assembly line and it starts with all different parts. In the end, car comes out. So the car has come out. The car is not for itself. Car cannot drive itself, cannot do anything. It's just a piece of metal. But there is an owner now who buys the car, or it is made for somebody. That's the main idea. The made for somebody. Just think of that idea. So it's made for this king who is the Atman. So Atman is there before the body was made. That's another very, very important point, that body, Atman is already existing, and then the body is made for it. Okay, but for it to work smoothly, the Jnanendriya and the Karmendriya also have to do their job properly, right? And it can only you need this hierarchy for the town to work properly. Right? So, and as I said, that बोलते हैं ना कि जब राजा एक government अच्छी होती है, जैसे okay, right now we cannot think of the Raja because we have a democracy. अगर अच्छी government होएगी तभी वो अच्छे से चलेगा, right? That's what we have to think of. In the presence of that government, everything functions with the same way. Presence of that Atman, this whole body will function. And when the connection is broken, everything disappears, So, and then what it's talking about is that this Anushtan, the person who understands this thing, that this is like a puri, my body is like a fort, and the owner is not for itself, but owner is something different, and that is the Atma. Once that kind of anushtan happens in our mind, that's when I will not grieve. When we were talking about sorrow, nahi hota hai, right? Because right now, what do I think? That I am the body. No, the body is made for someone else, and you are that someone. That's the thing. That's what they are telling you over here. Okay? So that anushtan we have to do in our mind, and this is in form of a dhyan, you can call it, because this is not a physical thing, but it is more mentally try to understand this. And he's saying that person who has learned like this, he is not going to feel sorrowful for anything. And this is that. The Aita, the Vaita, this is that. And then, यहाँ पर शोचती बोला हुआ है, and actually Tejo Menon ji reminded us that a similar verse has come earlier. And I was looking at that verse. It was Valli 2 verse 12, where he said, Harsha Shoka Jahati, means the person renounces joy and sorrow or goes beyond it. It's the same thing. When we talk about sorrow, it's like going beyond the two. And then Tejo Menon ji brought this point very well. Why does the grief happen? Again, the synergy is happening with Bhagavad Gita and over here. They are talking about heaviest sorrow se bhi person connect nahi hota. Yahan par bolta hai person doesn't grieve. So here Tejo Menon ji gave a very good point. He's saying that grief kab hota hai? Ignorance ki wajah se hota hai. Or delusion bolte hain usko. Moha hai. Sanskrit word hai moha. Sometimes we get confused with the word. We think it's called attachment. Attachment is a byproduct of moha. Moha means delusion. Delusion means I see what it is not. That's called delusion. जब बोलते हैं person is deluded, कोई चीज उनके सामने रखो तो भी उसको कुछ और ही दिखाई देता है. Something like that, okay? So he's saying that instead of thinking that I am that unborn Paramatma Swarup, I think I am the body. तो then शोक तो होगा ही फिर, according to him. Because he said Atma is like a shok. Atma में कोई शोक नहीं है, because we know it is a pure Satchidanand. And he was also reminding us that Ashok नाम ना भगवान के लिए भी यूज किया हुआ है. विष्णु सहस्त्र नाम में there's one of the names, 1000 names of Vishnu में Ashok नाम भी है उनका. And then another very, very important part is Vimuktascha Vimuchyate. It means that person get liberated, but he's already liberated. So what are they trying to say? So it is what Meena ji was saying, the water is pure water falling on pure water. So it's like, I think I am bound, but actually I'm not. That's what it's telling. So tum already free ho, lekin to why are they talking like that? Because Tejo Menon ji said that the problem is that मैं चाहे free हूँ, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं bound हूँ. And I was just thinking of a scenario कि समझो कि एक कमरे में मैं हूँ और किसी ने दरवाज़ा बंद किया and I think कि उसने lock कर दिया दरवाज़ा. And I start panicking and all that. उसने lock नहीं किया, actually खुला हुआ, I can walk out anytime. But if I don't know that, how will I feel? I feel, oh my God, somebody has locked me and now I can't get out. Something like that is happening. So he said a very important point, कि I am liberated, but if I don't know that I'm liberated, I cannot feel the joy of liberation. Okay? That's the point, he said. So it is like, worldly example लो ना, तो एक कोई दृष्टांत है जिसमें एक धोबी था, और वो एक पत्थर से कपड़े को धोता था. And that पत्थर was actually a diamond. पर उसको मालूम नहीं था. So वो बेचारा ना, मैं इतना गरीब हूँ, ये है, वो है. फिर like somebody saw that पत्थर, उसने बोला बाप रे, ये तो पत्थर नहीं, तो कुछ और ही है, जाके go to a jeweler and he will tell you. And वो ज्वेलर के पास गया तो ज्वेलर तो के हाथ से ही गिर गया. My God, where did you get this? this was the biggest diamond or something, and he could get millions of dollars for it. But if he doesn't know, he doesn't have the joy of it. That's what he's talking about, that even if you're liberated, if I don't know it, it's as good as not having it. So what this does is, this path will make you realize that you are already. And then you'll make you liberate, as though liberated again. But you see the thing? Already you have, but somebody tells you, like if I have my glasses up here and I keep going around the house, where are my glasses? Hey, it's on top of you only. Then I'll get the joy. That's all it is they're talking about. And the other angle that Tejamenanji brought in was two things happen. So that's why they have used this twice. You can look at it that way too. Vimuktascha vimuchyate. Ek hai liberation while living in the body. Like Jivan Mukta, jisko bola ki the state that Krishna Bhagwan talked about in Bhagavad Gita. That in the meditation you can reach that state merge, and then you will feel the bliss and all that. You'll get established while you are living in the body, and then you won't get shaken by the sorrow and all that. That's one state. And second one is when you quit the body, you don't have to come back again in this Janam Maran Sansara. Okay, that's why they have used it twice. So that's also we can look at it. So Punarjanma and all that. So then one more point he brought it over here. The reason they called it total liberation over here, exactly same point that what Krishna Bhagwan said, that will I get bound again? And Tejamenanji said, nope, you're not going to get bound again. That's why they used it twice also. Because he said the very cause of bondage is gone. And the cause was ignorance. So the knowledge has dawned upon it, and you cannot fall back into the sansar. Because the cause is, जैसे कि कोई अनपढ़ है, उसने ABCD सीख लिया, पढ़ना सीख लिया, तो cause of ignorance is gone now. फिर वो कुछ भी पढ़ सकता है. वो चाहे गीता की किताब लेके आओ, समझे नहीं समझे बात अलग है, पढ़ना उसको सब कुछ आएगा. Right? Same way, it is. So then one last point that Tejamenanji brought was very good one. He said that, okay, Aitat Vedat is like Atma Tattva, I realize, and I am the Atma Satchidanand. And then if I think that everybody else is useless, that again is a problem. Saying, no, not that. It is going to be for everybody. You have to accept the whole oneness, that everybody is Satchidanand. And then next verse, he said, is a very, very significant one, when he's going to tell that how this Atma Tattva expresses everywhere. That's what is going to be the next verse. But this one, they have described the city, body as a city, and the owner of the city as Atman. That's the angle they have taken over here. Any question or comment? I saw Neeluji smiling, so I know it's like, I think you were connecting to a lot of things, I was happy to see that. That's why. Everybody is good with it? No questions? Comment? Okay. Who's a volunteer to read this? It's very small. Swamiji's thing. Yeah. Neeluji can read.
This body of 11 gates is indeed of the unborn, even-minded self. Having meditated upon this, the seeker grieves not and gets liberated from all bonds of ignorance, indeed, and becomes free. This is verily that.
Yeah, so now you saw that how the same type of verse has come over here. Isn't that amazing?
Puram ekadasa devaram द्वारम.
द्वारम. Yeah, पुरम एकदशा. जो बोलते हैं ना अपन हिंदी में एकादशी है, means 11th day of the moon. So ekadasha is 11.
Puram ekadasa dwaram, city with 11 gates. The body with its 11 opening gates is meant here by the city. We have altogether 7 openings in the head, 3 openings in the trunk.
Okay, and there is a footnote that, if somebody wants to read that, but we know that what they're talking about, huh?
I don't have a footnote. It's on the next page for me.
Okay, that's fine, but we discussed it. Yeah, what that.
Yeah. The trunk. And the 11th one is the subtle aperture called the Brahma Marandra.
Okay, it says Brahma Randra. That's how you say it. Brahma Randra.
Brahma Randra.
Randra. Mm-hmm.
So the M-A is silent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Brahma Randra at the crown of the head, famous in the Yoga Shastra.
Yoga Shastra. Famous in the Yoga Shastra.
The comparison of the body with a city is quite appropriate, inasmuch as we have gates, gatekeepers, their controllers, a palace and a king, under whose orders all the servants carry out their appointed duties very systematically and very regularly, both in a city as well as in the body. The sense organ openings are the gates, the presiding deities are the gatekeepers, the mind, the controller, and Purasa, the king.
Okay, it's called Purusha because Purusha is another word used for Atman or the Brahman. So, Purusha is the king.
Purusha, the king.
Anushtaya. Yeah, Anushtaya.
Anushtaya, having meditated upon, he who meditates constantly upon the Lord of the heart gets rid of his ignorance, and ignorance created ego, sense, and realizes the true nature of the self. Therefore, naturally, he grieves not, being liberated from all bonds of ignorance and becoming free from the trammels of birth and death. This is that which Nichiketa has asked of the Guru Lord Death to explain.
Yeah, so Swamiji said this time he used very direct, precise thing about, the... Yeah, it's amazing that how cleverly they explained it, So amazing that how city is compared to the body. Yeah. What do you guys think of this explanation?
First we compared with the Rath.
Rath, yes, true. All of them have their own beauty, right?
Yes.
All of them have their
beautiful.
own beauty.
This is going more into depth of it because that, going into the openings and who's
right.
Mm-hmm. They're going more subtler aspect of it because what are the deities, so you go more subtler into them. That's it. Going into it. So it was very nice. It took me time. I read it once and twice and, trying to see, okay, what are they trying to tell me here?
But after we all went through all this, do you think that you have...
It's nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's why they give different ways to approach the same truth because different people think of it differently. But the way I look at it, they have not left any stone unturned to give us all kind of examples and this and that, and even this whole idea that when there is an assemblage, the assemblage is always for somebody else.
Yeah, that was important.
Yeah.
That was really important.
Very, very, very important to know because I remember one time Tejo Mayananji was doing Bhagavatam, huh? So Bhagavatam is supposed to be if you do it correctly, learn everything in Bhagavatam, in 7 days you should merge with God. In a sense, bhakti will rise so much. Huh? So that's why that whole thing is there that Shukdev Ji Maharaj, gave 7 days में ही उसको पहुंचा दिया moksha मिल गया उसको. So he said कि Bhagavatam is कि when you read Bhagavatam, तुम भागवतमय हो जाते हो. Huh? Like that he said. Like, so he's saying, but that is not true in the worldly sense. He's saying, if you take a computer course, do you become a computer? He asked all of us. We said, no. He's saying that's the difference between Atma Gyan and this. That, by studying computer science, you don't become a computer. But here, by studying the Atma Gyan, you become that.
Yes.
So that was the main thing.
That's important. Yeah.
Okay, then I can close over here, and then you can see the discussion. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.